Antonio Stradivari made violins that are still sought after for their exquisite sound. His contemporary, Joseph Guarnerius del Gesu, made violins that many consider equal in quality to Stradivari's work. Stradivarius and Guarnerius violins go for millions today. Smith versus Zimbalist involves what appears to be an amazing deal on two classic violins that collapsed under the weight of a mutual mistake. Efrem Zimbalist was a world-famous violinist. When he learned about 86-year-old George Smith, who had collected rare and old violins for decades, Zimbalist asked if he could visit Smith. Examining Smith's collection, Zimbalist picked up one instrument and pronounced it a Stradivarius. He asked Smith what he'd take for it. Smith hadn't planned to sell his violins, but considering his advanced age, he said he'd sell the violin for $5,000, less than a dealer would charge. Zimbalist then picked up another violin that he identified as a Guarnerius and asked what price Smith would take for that one. Smith said he'd sell both violins for $8,000. Zimbalist agreed. The men then wrote a memorandum stating that Zimbalist had received one violin by Guarnerius and one violin by Stradivarius, dated 1717. Zimbalist paid $2,000 down and agreed to pay off the balance at a rate of $1,000 a month. Smith also signed a statement certifying that he'd sold Zimbalist a Stradivarius dated 1717 and a Guarnerius. Smith stated that Zimbalist would be able to exchange the instruments for others in his collection if he so desired. Both parties honestly believed Antonio Stradivari and Joseph Guarnerius had made the violins. Smith hadn't made any warranties of authenticity, nor did he make any fraudulent representations. As it turned out, both violins were most likely imitations and worth no more than $300 together. Zimbalist refused to make any more payments. Smith sued Zimbalist to recover the unpaid balance. The trial court decided that the transaction had been the result of a mutual mistake and that Smith wasn't entitled to recover. It found for Zimbalist. Smith appealed to the California Court of Appeal. He argued that the court should have applied the doctrine of caveat emptor, or let the buyer beware, and found that Zimbalist bought the violins at his own risk and peril.